In the past 3 weeks, Iran has shot down a dozen of America's most advanced combat drones. Over $360 million in unmanned aircraft destroyed. These are MQ-9 Reapers. They are the most heavily armed, most relied upon drone the United States military has ever built, and Iran is picking them off one by one. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how Iran is destroying American drones and what that means for the rest of this war. And when Operation Epic Fury launched, the first aircraft sent into Iranian airspace were Reapers, drones that fly at roughly 300 miles per hour, less than a third the speed of a fighter jet, holding the same altitude, following the same flight path for 20 hours at a time. In past wars against enemies with no real air defenses, that was an advantage. Over Iran, that is a death sentence, and Iran was ready for them. For 2 straight years before this war started, Iran supplied missiles to Houthi forces in Yemen. The Houthis used those missiles to shoot down Reaper after Reaper. At least 12 confirmed kills, possibly as many as 20. Every one of those engagements sent data back to Tehran. Iran studied how the Reaper flies, how it reacts, how it fails. Then they brought those same weapons home and deployed them at full scale on their own territory. And here is what makes these missiles so effective. Most air defense systems use radar to find a target. The moment that radar turns on, the aircraft knows. American drones and jets carry sensors that detect radar energy and alert the operator. That is supposed to be your warning. Iran's most lethal missiles skip that step entirely. They do not use radar. They track the heat coming off the drone's engine. No radar signal, no alert, no warning of any kind. The Reaper does not know it is being hunted until the missile has already hit. Air and Space Forces magazine confirmed these infrared-guided systems have been, in their words, particularly effective against Reapers. And that phrase should unsettle anyone paying attention because these are not prototype weapons Iran rolled out for the first time last month. Tehran field-tested this exact technology through the Houthis in Yemen starting in late 2023. The Houthi variant is designated the Saqr 358, derived from Iran's indigenous product 358 missile. It is a subsonic interceptor with an imaging infrared seeker for terminal guidance, inertial navigation augmented by satellite positioning, a high-explosive fragmentation warhead weighing roughly 10 kilograms, and an optical proximity fuse. It flies at 0.57 to 0.6 Mach, approximately 700 kilometers per hour, and it was specifically engineered to kill medium-altitude, long-endurance platforms. That is not a general description. That is the MQ-9 Reaper's exact flight envelope written into a missile's targeting parameters. The Houthis used this system and its variants to shoot down at least 12 confirmed Reapers between October 2023 and early 2025. Some estimates push that number above 16. Fox News reported that as many as 20 may have been destroyed over Yemen. Every one of those missiles was Iranian supplied. Every engagement generated performance data that flowed back to Tehran. Iran watched its proxy force kill Reaper after Reaper for 2 straight years, collected the telemetry, refined the intercept doctrine, and then deployed the same systems at full industrial scale on its own soil. The same weapons that armed the Houthis are now defending Tehran. And they are working. Beyond the infrared systems, Iran fields the Bavar 373, a domestically produced long-range surface-to-air battery comparable to the Russian S-300, capable of tracking and engaging targets at dozens of miles. Below that layer sit mobile short-range and medium-range interceptor units that reposition after every launch, making them extremely difficult to suppress. The entire architecture is designed to create overlapping kill zones at different altitudes and ranges. A drone flying at medium altitude on a predictable track for hours at a time is the easiest possible target for that kind of network. Stay with me, because what the Reaper is actually doing over Iran right now explains why these losses are far more dangerous than a dollar figure. And towards the end of this, we will come back to a cost ratio that makes the long-term math impossible. Most people think the MQ-9 is a surveillance drone, an eye in the sky that watches and occasionally fires a Hellfire at a pickup truck. In reality, the Reaper is the single most critical platform in Operation Epic Fury. It is running the air campaign. More than 10 simultaneous Reaper orbits are operating over Iranian territory at any given moment. These aircraft are carrying 250-pound small-diameter bombs with foldable wings that extend their strike range well beyond the Hellfire. They are actively hunting Iran's mobile missile launchers, including road mobile systems caught relocating on open highways. CENTCOM has released dozens of weapon system videos showing precision strikes on launchers, parked aircraft, and fortified positions. That footage was captured through Reaper cameras. Over 5,500 targets have been struck since February 28th, and the Reaper has been at the center of that effort from the opening hours. CENTCOM will publish that footage all day long. It will not tell you how many of the aircraft that filmed it are now scattered across Iranian desert. 2 U.S. officials confirmed the losses to ABC News. 2 more confirmed to CBS News. The Wall Street Journal broke the story first. Not a single one of those confirmations came from an official Pentagon briefing. CENTCOM acknowledged that Reapers are flying in the operation. It declined to comment on how many have been destroyed. The Air Force referred questions to CENTCOM. General Atomics referred everything to the military. A closed loop of silence around a number that keeps growing. The MQ-9's sensor suite makes this possible. It carries the multispectral targeting system, which fuses electro-optical and infrared cameras with laser designators, electronic intelligence collection, and General Atomics Lynx multimode radar. That radar generates targeting-grade imagery through smoke, dust, and sandstorms. Nothing else in the Air Force inventory combines all of that capability while staying airborne for 27 hours on a single fuel load. The Reaper entered service in 2007 over Afghanistan. It has logged millions of flight hours across Iraq, Syria, Libya, and Yemen. Or during the Battle of Sirte in 2016, MQ-9s delivered nearly 500 close air support strikes against ISIS in dense urban terrain. No other unmanned platform in American history has been relied on this heavily, and right now it is being consumed at a rate that has no historical comparison. But the role that truly makes the Reaper irreplaceable in this conflict is not bombing. It is targeting for manned fighters. The MQ-9 loiters over the objective, locks its laser on the target, and an F-15 or F-18 drops a guided joint direct attack munition from miles away without ever entering the most dangerous airspace. The drone absorbs the exposure so the pilot does not have to. Not a single manned American aircraft has been shot down over Iran by Iranian fire. That fact is a direct product of the Reaper absorbing the risk that would otherwise fall on human crews. Houston Cantwell, a retired fighter and drone pilot who commanded the 732nd Operations Group at Creech Air Force Base, described this as a fantastic application of the platform's capabilities. He said the MQ-9 is proving its value far beyond the counterterrorism mission it was originally designed for. The drone is protecting pilots by dying in their place. And that is the part that makes the next piece of information devastating. The factory that built every MQ-9 Reaper ever flown is closed. General Atomics produced 575 total airframes over nearly 2 decades. In 2020, the Air Force placed its final procurement order. General Atomics fulfilled it, delivered the last 4 drones at approximately $16 million each, and permanently shut down the production line in 2025. Mark Brinkley, the company spokesperson, confirmed these figures. There is no backup facility. There is no emergency restart provision that has been made public. As of December 2024, the entire U.S. inventory stood at roughly 225 Reapers. The Air Force had planned to keep 140 operational through 2035 while waiting for a successor platform. That successor does not exist. It is not in production. It has not even been selected. Every Reaper destroyed over Iran is one that cannot be replaced. The production line is closed. Combined with the 16 or more Reapers lost to Houthis in Yemen since 2023, Air and Space Forces magazine assessed that the United States may have lost as much as 10% of its entire MQ-9 fleet. 10%? Gone. From a stockpile that only gets smaller. Now, here is the cost exchange we promised, and it demolishes the idea that drone losses are acceptable overhead. The Product 358 and its variants are subsonic missiles with infrared seekers and 10-kilogram warheads. The exact unit cost is not public, but the design profile places it squarely in the range of tens of thousands of dollars per round. One of those missiles, destroying a Reaper, valued between $16 and $32 million, produces a cost ratio that is strategically catastrophic over time. Iran is spending fractions of a cent on the dollar to permanently remove platforms Washington cannot rebuild. The same systems that arm the Houthis are now running that equation against the American defense budget on repeat. And the math only moves in one direction. The Reaper losses sit inside a broader pattern of attrition that compounds the problem. 3 F-15E Strike Eagles were downed over Kuwait in a friendly fire incident reportedly involving a Kuwaiti F-A-18. Replacement cost, approximately $309 million. A KC-135R Stratotanker, callsign Zeus 95, crashed over western Iraq on March 12th, killing all 6 crew members. 5 additional KC-135 tankers were damaged on the ground at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia by an Iranian missile strike. An F-35 was forced into an emergency landing after reportedly taking Iranian fire. The pilot survived. An Italian Air Force MQ-9 was destroyed at Ali al-Salam in Kuwait on March 15th when an Iranian drone struck its shelter. At least 16 American military aircraft have been destroyed since Epic Fury began. THAAD radar components valued at $500 million per unit have been struck in the UAE and Jordan. An early warning radar at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar was damaged. The first 100 hours of the operation consumed an estimated $5.82 billion. Iranian retaliatory strikes have damaged roughly $2.52 billion in American military assets across the region. 13 U.S. service members are dead, around 140 wounded. While Iran has expanded its retaliatory strikes well beyond Israel into Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates, targeting energy infrastructure and military installations in countries that host American forces. Saudi Arabia alone intercepted 64 Iranian drones in a single day on March 16th. Qatar intercepted several more. Dubai International Airport suspended flights after a drone strike. Oil loading operations at Fujairah port were halted after a fire caused by Iranian munitions. The Strait of Hormuz, the choke point through which roughly 20% of the world's daily oil supply passes, is now an active combat zone. This is not a contained operation. It is a regional war with global economic consequences. Most people assume this air campaign is running on overwhelming American superiority with minimal friction. In reality, Iran is imposing real costs, real casualties, and real equipment losses at a tempo without precedent in recent American military operations. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stated that Iranian attack frequency dropped by 90% since the conflict began. That sounds decisive, but Western and Israeli intelligence estimates indicate only around 60% of Iran's missile launchers have been neutralized. That figure has barely moved in recent days. 40% residual capability is not a broken network. It is a functioning defense system operating under pressure and still killing American drones. Tyler Rogoway, editor-in-chief of the War Zone, stated it directly. There is no air dominance over all of Iran. Not even close. The IRGC is telling its own version. Tehran claims 104 total drones destroyed across American and Israeli platforms, including Hermes 900, Heron, and orbiter systems. Iran says it captured an Israeli Hermes 900 intact around March 3rd, reportedly by electronically trapping it with a newly fielded system and recovering it fully armed for reverse engineering. Neither side's numbers are independently verified. Both governments are managing the narrative. The confirmed Reaper losses, cross-referenced across U.S. official admissions and open-source tracking, sit between 11 and 14, with the true number likely at the upper bound and still climbing. Neither government has any incentive to give you a straight count. Washington does not want to advertise that its signature drone platform is being swatted out of contested airspace. Tehran has every reason to inflate its numbers for domestic and regional audiences. The truth is trapped between two propaganda machines, and no independent body has access to the wreckage on either side. Share this to every service member, every veteran, every military family you know right now. The Air Force planned to retire the MQ-9 by 2035 because it was too slow and too visible for contested airspace. The reality is that the Reaper became the most essential unmanned platform in Operation Epic Fury. The plan called for 575 airframes to last through a gradual phase-out. The reality is more than a dozen destroyed in under 3 weeks, on top of 16 or more lost to Houthis firing the same Iranian-supplied weapons. The plan assumed manned fighters would carry the strike burden in a major war. The reality is that Reapers are doing the targeting, the loitering, and the close-range surveillance so human pilots stay alive. And they are paying for it with airframes that do not come back. The plan was to field a replacement before the Reaper became obsolete. No replacement exists. The production line closed in 2025. And the question that no one at CENTCOM, no one at General Atomics, and no one at the White House has answered is how long this campaign can keep burning through a fleet that only shrinks against an adversary whose defenses were purpose-built to kill this exact aircraft in a war with no defined endpoint. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like the video and hit subscribe so you never miss an update. And click the video appearing on your screen right now to watch another.